but you better be ready, okay, to take it. And usually it was on point. So Captain Lawrence is a school teacher on the outside. He's had previous command time in a drill sergeant battalion. Nonetheless, I can tell that he has learned in trial by error along the way. And so, so we're at CS. I wish he was here. I won't tell it again when he is here. So we're at CSTX, and he likes telling me things, and I'm actually grateful for it. Okay. So we're at the outside the DFAC, and he's in civilian clothes. So I'm like, he can't be too pissed off right now. He's in civilian clothes, right? It's coming out after dinner chow. So I ask, hey sir, how are you doing? How's it going? Sergeant Major. You know, that's how you just know. You just know from there. You're getting ready to get it, right? And so he lets me know some things and everything. I'm like, great, sir. You know, right up. You know, keep your AAR track of this soup sandwich we got going on here, right? And so what I love in gaining perspective from especially school teachers is, man, that's where it starts before IET, right? So you get a perspective of what's out there in society that possibly might come in through the IET channels, military channels. And then when I was in the 256, we had Sergeant First Class T, who was a school teacher also, a very smart guy. And I would bother him for advice too at times related to that experience and just where he thought we were with discipline in the Army and how it needs to look and everything. And by the way, he did not think we were on point, and I don't think Captain Lawrence thinks we're on point either. Okay, so very important. You don't always have to agree with everyone. Just kind of listen and take it for what it is. There's always going to be something said though that's going to maybe jerk you here and there. So that leads me into the ego thing, right? So many think of ego is bad terms, right? Like a bad thing. It's not all bad. Ego also comes from experience, right? So I'm noticing a difference, and I promise you, I am in no way full of myself. Okay, I say this to teach you. I've been in about 30 years. I'm noticing a difference in those that came in post 9/11. Okay, and I think where the ego really gets in there, or the passion stuff comes in there, it's just look, we've tried that, right? Or we did it different back then, and that's why we did it different, right? So understand that it's not always a bad thing. Where we get tripped up on ourselves sometimes, we need to check our ego at the door. As I was just wrong recently about the new grooming standards and had to go check myself, and I checked myself and I'm good to go now, right? But it's the changes, okay? Because as a sergeant major is rolling along, man, believe it or not, there's no magic person in my pocket or anything saying, hey, this changed. Hey, this changed. No. It's like a fire coming at us. We got to sort through it. So sometimes we have the tendency for the ego to go bad, and we get defensive because we just simply don't know what we don't know, right? We don't know everything, but yet we're trying to echo everything to the formation. So understand that. I hope that my replacement will be great for you all. I really do. It's lonely at the top, okay? I'm not saying that to, say cry for me or anything. It's just, don't delay in saying something that needs to be said. All right? Don't wait, because as a TPU, you've only got X amount of months in position, and it goes by. It honestly goes by so fast. She's got a year and some change left. If you got something that needs brought to her, do it. I seriously do it. I think she'd be fine with it. You'd have a nice sit-down conversation, and then she's going to ask, does this need to go anywhere else? And you just say, nope, I'm good. Okay, cool. All right. Some of the guests, so Major Milo, I was telling you a story about somebody taking care of me with some orders for some DL stuff I had, EBDL, right? That was none other than that right here. Major Eric Crandall was the SSA, at the time, and I don't know if you remember that, sir, but you did it at the end of FY for me. Thank you. Another man behind the curtain thing, thankless jobs. You were drinking from a fire hose. I'm surprised your hair is not like red. Okay. Major Hooker was always like, I don't know, that breath of fresh air with the answers that I needed. Sometimes just for something simple, but it was just peace of mind. Your office down there at Blacklick, Ohio, you had like a candle ambience going on, right? And I just walked by, I'm like, man, she's so harmonious in there, and the rest of the unit's crazy, right? It's like out of control everywhere else. And then, ma'am, I got to know you for your beautiful family, and did you just go to Yellowstone?
Yeah,
So she's a person of nature too, right? And it's like, no wonder she's always so poised and happy, right? But she would answer questions like, hey, Sergeant Major, yeah, I think everyone got paid. Do you want me to check for you? Yeah, great, thank you, ma'am. I mean, honestly, that little things like that just make our day. She was savvy with, DTS and just taking care of soldiers. I don't think it was exactly necessarily her job as medical, but she had, and you had previous command time as well, right? You're a major, and I'm sure on to do bigger and better things along the way. So, and is your husband in too?
No, he's not. He's stay-at-home dad.
Okay, awesome.
Keep things rolling.
He's your family care plan.
That's right.
Gotta have that. So, and then Melody Kingwood, she always just had a smile about her, and just had that she was a good people person, and she showed she cared. I know she was getting ingrained in and passionate about the LOD process, right? And I know that never bothers Miss Rice. She never gets bothered by the LOD. It's all smooth and easy here.
Like sarcasm. Appreciate
anyway,
it.
I'm trying to.
That's all sarcasm, okay?
Provoke a spark. No, but you just
burn this place down.
You spent money on postage and different things for the unit. The unit was lucky to have you. Okay, and you definitely came in hard spots to fill, because it was a unit that was definitely used to a few people doing everything. And we've got to get away from that. We've got to get away from expecting a few people to do everything. If we get all our hands in there, and you spend a few minutes a month throughout the month housekeeping, doing the things they need to get done, it really makes for a better unit. Okay? And then recently I was talking about my best unit. So this has been my best unit, okay? Because if this isn't my best unit, then it's never going to be my best unit. Does that make sense? So kind of forward thinking that, and I know we get upset at times about lacking things to do, right? We've had these talks, and painfully I didn't realize until becoming a command sergeant major that it's on you. Okay, it just is. Master Sergeant Warren don't have time to make sure Lieutenant Rouse is busy or Staff Sergeant Rowley is busy. You can come together as a quorum. You can do some DNC, go knock out some PMCS, go do something. And I don't think when the dead sergeants walk up on you, they're going to be upset about that, okay? It's all about attitude, okay? And I haven't always had the best attitude. Trust me, man. I've been there. I remember many AAT missions around the Sergeant Warren days, we go to the field and just like, man, I'm getting out. I'm done with this. This is stupid. I'm no more. And then, we come out of the field and we re-enlist, So it's about... A lot of it's about attitude, okay? My first unit would probably be deemed as toxic, okay? But I learned a lot of great field training from that unit. A lot of boots in the butt there. A lot of boots in the butt. My first flu shot, we were in formation, and they said, you're going to file out and get in line, okay? They didn't say what for. You sat down, and that's when I found out I was getting flu shot, okay? I kid you not. I'm not joking. Okay, so times have changed, things have changed, I got it. What else? I'm halfway there, now I'm going to quit. So, into my speech. So, God and family, okay? I touched on it some. I couldn't do it without my family, without my wife Janet. I wouldn't be here right now if it weren't for her support along the way. At no time did she say, hey, when are you going to quit being too stupid to quit? Right? She never did. She never did that. And even when I said, you know, hey, babe, I'm going to retire, she's like, what? Are you sure? You know, yeah. She's like, you know you talk Army well, right? I'm like, no, but thank you. I'm still going to retire, you know. So, thank you, dear. I couldn't have done it. I love you. Okay. My brother and sister, they couldn't be here. They're in Indiana. But they have been by my side the whole time too, through this journey. My parents are both deceased, and my mom was always like my I don't know, I call it like my silent Katie's caller. You know, she never served today, but it's like she did. You know, and I remember I was in airborne school, and I called her for a minute or something, and she's like, get that school, get through that school. And then I took my first jump, and my fibula jammed or something in my leg, you know, and I remember seeing the ambulance, you know, and it's like, you don't go to the ambulance or you're done, right? And I got like mom's voice in my head, and I'm like, man, I'm going to get through this, even if I got a limp. And fortunately, I listened to mom, and I got through it, and I'm here to talk about it today. Leading is hard while managing is easy, okay? So, strive to learn and teach at least one new thing per event. And then, you know, bring your own chair to the table. All right? So, we were at the Sergeant Major Academy, and they were talking about, you know, being relevant and being invited to the meetings, the tables, right, and all that stuff. And I'm like, screw that. I bring my own chair to the table. Okay? So, it's okay. Sometimes, you know, just be engaged. Be engaged as a leader. Know what's going on. Know when the meeting is, when to be there, what's important, okay? The meetings are important. They're not as important as the soldiers, but they are important. They will make you feel dumber at times. That is natural. It's not you, okay? Just to let you know. Nobody embraces the suck, wishing for more. I've kind of touched on this, okay? You get the kick in the butt along the way. You don't always appreciate it along the way, but you look back and you're like, man, I'm glad I had that kick in the butt. We spent 30 days in the J's list, by the way, too, right? Didn't we? Yeah. So we slept in the J's list. So when I hear people talk about they got to be in PTs to sleep, I'm like, really? I mean, this stuff's like pajamas, okay? I don't think I'd sleep in this quite, but the fatigues nowadays are really good. So always be ready. Just always be ready. So in the newsletter, I had my little blurb in there about thank you for your service. And I know that sometimes, who's uncomfortable with it? Being thanked for your service. It's okay. It's okay. You are. I don't want to hear your version. Ran into, Mandy, you want to sit down? Okay. I know, right? She's tough. Scared me. Bob Weissong, a lifelong car dealer of my dad's, successful career man in my mind, right, from what I knew growing up. Ran into him one day, and I was having a down moment in the Army. I was a little pissed off, disgruntled at the time, because I hadn't 87 yet, okay? And just a reminder to kind of check your attitude in society sometimes. And so, you know, Bob, I didn't go off on anything. It's just, Bob was like, hey, Bill, you still serving? I'm like, yeah. You know, it's kind of like hung it in my head. And he's like, man, I wish I could have served. I'm like, why? Right? Just like, man, you're a successful businessman, you know, right? And he wishes he could have served. He wishes he could have served the country. And I guess there's some medical reason or some reason that he couldn't, right? So, what's my point? It ain't about us, okay? It may be deeper than that, with that person extending their hand to thank you for your service. If it's uncomfortable, it's okay. Just say you're welcome and walk along, man. Don't ignore it. Don't ignore it, because that just brings negative light we don't need, okay? And we've largely actually been popular, I think, despite the ups and downs website. I think we're pretty popular in society. So just take it, man. Take it for what it is. We're always under on our end strength. So, yeah. And I haven't always been great at it either, okay? So, you fly the airplane, I'm just your passenger, okay? I heard that said a couple of times, I think on the trail of Benny when I was a senior drill. And there's an MRT class about geese. You know what I'm talking about? So everybody feels like the wings, and you make a strong team to be the geese to get forward, right? Make it a collective, everybody, make a collective pilot effort to the airplane, all right, is where I'm going with this, okay? So, if I get told that as a leader, I know that I'm probably doing something wrong, right? I'm not open to suggestions, I'm not open to others taking charge. Make sense? So think about that, because really we all kind of fly the airplane. Right? I get it, there's somebody's got to lead from the front, right? And I've always tried to be that, and every leader should, but I just want to share that. Believe in yourself, okay? Sometimes everything you need is right within you, all right? Listening to others can also be a crutch or not always a good thing, right? Believe in yourself. Trust your instincts. Trust your instincts. I found that very important. I found to not get feedback on some of my instincts I had for several years after, or even never, when my instincts were in fact correct, or more correct than not. So trust your gut. Nobody cares how much you know until they know how much you care. Okay? I think I first saw that in an email from retired Major Berkshire. Okay, and we're friends today, and that is a very true statement. And I think that very much fits some of the staff, the people behind the curtain that I was talking about earlier. It's a good saying. If you see something, say something, and most importantly, take action, right? So we can't just sit on the information. We've got to do something with it, right? And I get it. That's the hard part. I certainly don't have it all figured out. I have not exemplified every instance of that. Okay? I'm paying it forward to you as lessons learned. All right, so a couple months back, we had talked about being blackballed. Who remembers that conversation? Being blackballed? And it was cool. It was pretty cool. We had a moment. Somebody asked me if I'd ever been blackballed. Okay? And so I thought about that, and I've probably been blackballed a few times throughout my career. Okay? Back in that first unit I told you about, I know what happened. Hindsight again, right? And so, you know, you just kind of become comfortable with being uncomfortable at some point, right? And so I go back to what I was saying, believe in yourself, you can persevere. You can persevere. I was a specialist for almost 9 months in my career. Okay? So when I talk about shaman, we got our shamer in the room? Specialist? Where you at? Is she here?
She's got about 4 minutes on it.
What?
She's got about 4 minutes.
Okay, all right. So, yeah, right? She's shaman. So, I love it. I love picking on them because I was one. Okay? It's okay. It's okay. But like I told you all, you don't have that long to hang out anymore. And a lot of it's because there's so much PME now. Professional military education. All right? I only had to do 2 weeks of PLDC. Okay? I didn't have to do anything online. All right? So just understand that. Let's see here. So I graduated AIT with 2 sprained ankles. Okay? Never had a profile. Man, you know, I hear a lot of times in society these days people bashing the drill sergeants, man. Okay? People bashing the Cold War era, you know, the polished boot era, the sidewalk drill, the caves calling, you know, that's all they know, everything else, right? Look, my drill sergeants were phenomenal. Phenomenal. Okay? So, crusty old guy, man, first class Pat, you know, he was that senior drill that, you know, if he loved to, we did diamond push-ups. Diamond push-ups is what he was known for. Didn't do many of them, but you knew when you were getting smoked by him, it meant something, right? It meant something. He talked to us. Mail time was a little more eventful, I guess, because there'd be stories he'd share, you know, things like that. And so I think I've taken away a piece of him and adapted that throughout the years, adopted that throughout the years. You know, and then you had your drill sergeants that were the pricks, right? Back then it was always the Ranger tab ones, man. Oh my God, they were the ones that would push the envelope for whatever reason this house seemed there for them. But never, ever did I doubt or question any of their leadership ability whatsoever, man. I'm talking plastered, starched uniforms, black polished. Look, we didn't care if they could do what we were doing. We just cared if we were successful and they left us alone at the end of the day. Make sense? But it was all good. It was all necessary. Everything matters. Everything matters. The cadence calling matters. The DNC matters. The weapon skills matter. The PT matters. Okay? The belt seam alignment on the uniform matters. The stay off my grass matters. Okay? We cannot be lazy. We have to be postured and ready for anything. Okay? And look, I joined for the money too. I did. Right? So firefighting was popular in the local town I grew up in. And I joined this mess because there were classmates that weren't making it through basic training. I don't know, it sounds like a challenge, right? So I went. I'm a city boy. And I go to basic training as an infantryman. Right? Sergeant First Class Gregory Johnson was my recruiter. Love the guy, man. Love the guy today. I'm sure he lied to me. It's okay. All right, we got through it. I'm over it. Okay? $2,000 bonus, 6-year contract. I've never done anything for 6 years. The furthest I ran in my life was to the bus stop. But hey, we'll get through this, right? I was an active kid, but I never ran. So, I was about to go to sick call, and things hurt a little more in my second year going back for AIT than in basic training. Okay, and my body was already, man, you know, you wore the one-style-fits-all boot, right? And you did the ruck marching. If you asked how far you were going, you either got the answer of not far enough, or you got smoked, or maybe both, right? For asking the question. And the APFT, I never even knew my score. I just knew I made it and was left alone. Okay. Weapons call, I shot marksman. I was just happy to go over in the corner and throw my BDU cover on the helmet and not be a turtle shell anymore, right? So we did that back then. The drills would stand behind the Firebirds with their brown rounds on, screaming at us, you know, and you were just glad to qualify and go be left alone. Cool? So it all matters. Okay? Some of it may matter more than other stuff at various times, but it all matters. If you think something's toxic or think you're being abused, check yourself. Okay? Figure out what the intent is around you and go from there. All right? Figure it out, sort it out. But those were some good times. And so I tried to go to sick call, and they wouldn't let me. So that was the day when pop your feet up on the end of the bunk or whatever, they look at your blisters and like, you're good, put your boots back on. Okay, that was how that went. Our blue cord ceremony was, we were doing the rucksack flop, changing socks at the end of our 12-mile ruck, and they hand you your blue cord. Okay, hey, you made it. Hey, you made it. I don't even think we got told good job. They just say you made it, right? Cool, you know? So, and then you went into the, I miss the pickle suit, man. I miss it. That pickle suit, I could hang that sucker in a garment bag, and it would never wrinkle. Okay? Because it was made of like this thick polyester, right? I didn't care what it looked like, as long as I ain't got to go buy something, right? So, you're coming back to another uniform now and everything. I like this too, don't get me wrong. Blue's my favorite color, but man, I didn't mind the pickle suit. It was all good. Garrison cap, the whole 9 yards. Everything was good. So I miss the real sergeants, okay? Some of you can relate to this, some of you can't. But I'm going to read these blurbs off and just enjoy it. Real sergeants can cuss for 10 minutes without ever repeating a word. They have a spine, can see in the dark. Chris was great at that. Actually, that was one thing I most admire about him. He had these, like, what, PBS 7s, was it? He's out there like a freaking coon dog, right, through the woods, leading the entire formation of the unit through the woods. He's an E5, got like E7s falling in behind him, right? I'm getting up there close to him. He's like, what do you want? I'm trying to see how you do what you do, man. You know? So, yeah, awesome. Have eyes in the back of their heads. Still don't trust the Russians. Don't give a damn about being politically correct. Can run 5 miles with a hangover. Still know how to use a buffer. Believe that they do have a rendezvous with destiny. Don't know how to use a stress card. Idolize John Wayne. Don't believe that APHIS really needs a commander. Really don't like taking shit from those who haven't been there. Know how to properly construct a field with train. Slit trenches. Anyone heard of those? We had them in the 90s. Okay? They're now like banned, I think. But they may come back one day. Be ready. Excuse me. Might admire the Germans, but still realize they got their butts kicked twice. Aren't afraid of the Chinese, who probably don't have enough rowboats to invade Taiwan. Would rather be op war than in mop war. Don't believe a darn thing the Iraqis say. Don't need a GPS to find themselves. Have enough BDUs in their closet to start a surplus store. Think that MREs taste good with a little hot sauce. Are convinced that wall-to-wall counseling really works.
Cool.
Have more time on the front line than most others, having the chow line. Know how to make coffee when the measuring scoop goes missing. Know that it's not good coffee when you can see through it. Sir Smith makes good coffee, by the way. Is he here yet? No. Don't blame poor marksmanship on their weapon. Know that inept leaders will always say they have inept soldiers. Excuse me. And that's that on that. Okay? So, here's some advice. A lot of this is paraphrased from the retired Command Sergeant Major Mark Halbert. And this kind of helps us bridge the gap, I think, between old and new. So as I sit here and ponder by the oak tree, thoughts cross my mind. Now we use the term old at times in a derogatory manner, meaning outdated. Change of perspective. Could have you look at someone considered old as wise. Okay? The term young commonly is perceived as inexperienced or immature. Like old, a change of perspective could have this term viewed as shapeable. The phrase "stuck in their ways" is commonly referred to someone's unwilling to change, unwillingness to change. However, it could be possibly viewed as a person's attachment to something they are proud of and comfortable with. No way justifying stubbornness, just offering perspective. Finally, hate. Most will defend that hate is subject and varies from person to person or group to group. I believe that hate is a reaction that we feel towards something that has threatened us or will change our way of life. Fear, on the other hand, is what happens when we can't do anything about it, meaning that hate and fear come from the same place but are not the same thing. As I sit here and reflect, I'm just offering perspective. Additionally, I'm offering sensible and relative dialogue with the intent to create a positive change. So, there you have it. All right, so Colin Powell said, leadership is solving problems, right? The day soldiers stop bringing you the problems, it's the day you have stopped leading them. They have either lost confidence that you can help or concluded you do not care. Okay? Don't lose that. I will tell you that my office has become mobile, okay, for a reason. Soldiers are not just going to run to your office in this capacity, okay? I learned in pre-command course that we are the they. I don't know if you learned that too or not. So we're not the cool kids anymore, the battalion higher level, always, okay? So I have to get out there, all right? There's no more kicking the boots up on the desk, drinking my coffee, waiting on somebody to come to me. So I found a lot more bang for the buck and going out and something called battlefield circulation as much as possible. And it actually becomes fun. It really does. It's a lot better than being tied up and cooped up in an office or tied up in a meeting you don't want to be in. But the meetings are still important. Understand? Let's see here. Simply put, the center of gravity for leading is solving problems. If we don't listen, we are removing an opportunity for excellence to mentor soldiers in Army systems and processes. If we don't learn what the problems are within the formations, we rob ourselves the opportunity to solve, and problems will grow and fester. So some have a saying, it's really kind of a bad mentality. Don't bring me problems, bring me solutions, right? And some of you probably heard me say, try to bring me like a half solution at least or something, right? But hey, it's okay. Like I said, you can come vent to me. Just respect the rank. That's all I ask. I'm not going to hold it against you. How many times have you heard that this throughout your career? Bring me your problems, or if you bring me problems, bring me the solutions, right? I get the notion of not making the commander the action officer, but I think the statement stops with the best and should not be repeated by anyone below the boss. Okay? When the commander makes this statement, they are generally implying that the staff has not performed the due diligence in either identifying or solving the actual problem. A platoon sergeant telling a staff sergeant this statement robs an opportunity for mentorship. Okay? Likewise for like a captain and lieutenant. By all means, make sure the commander understands the problem and ensures we have performed the due diligence so the commander can make an informed decision. We do the routine things well. We do not do new hard things well. Okay? Don't make the easy things hard. But what do we do all the time? We make the easy things hard, don't we? Yep, I'm guilty. Okay? Try to not make the easy things hard so you can then focus on the hard things. And by the way, what are the hard things? What are some hard things?
Stay organized.
Okay. All right, I'm going to cut you off. So, loss of limb, loss of death, right? Dying. I think those are the hard things. As long as we're still standing, we're able to talk about it and act on it, it's easy. Right?
Oh.
We train like we fight. Whoa.
Oh.
We train like we fight. We got to do that. We got to stay after it, despite the challenges to do so. All right? What are your questions? Questions about anything?